All right, hola guys, que paso? How's everyone doing? Thank you for tuning in. This is Hala Pablo. Let's skip all the formalities and get right into why you clicked on this video. Let's look at Bitcoin Cash. Bitcoin Cash. All right, now I have two charts up here. Bitcoin Cash is on the left, and this is a market dominance chart. So it's not the actual price. It goes by billions here, and this is the market dominance that Bitcoin Cash has at the moment. And then on the right-hand side, we have this should be familiar, those of you who have been following these videos, this is Bitcoin, okay? And we talked about all the different features on this chart, but this is the distribution that we're currently in that I believe is playing out. Along with the volume spread analysis, we have the FOMC announcement spike here that constituted this sell-off from the 5 wave, which I believe is manipulated. It was manufactured. I think that they knew exactly what they were doing, and they needed a catalyst to effectuate the sell-off. And then we have the LPSYs, which forms kind of like, conveniently enough, the ABC macro correction coming on. Now, the big question is, and this is all in relation to looking and plotting and wondering if we want to take a long position in Bitcoin Cash, what Bitcoin is going to do right now at this precise juncture in time. Because if Bitcoin Cash is, if Bitcoin is going to distribute further, then we really don't want to start taking longs yet in any of the alts, just because usually when Bitcoin dumps, it pulls all the alts down too, for the most part. And so we don't want to, some of them are independent and they basically do their own thing and they hold their own ground, but we don't want to take any risks. We don't know what something like Bitcoin Cash is going to do in that sort of situation. So we always want to keep an eye on Bitcoin and what Bitcoin is doing. And in this case, we see that it's under the ice, and the ice, of course, is being the anchored VWAP to the preliminary supply point. And we see that we've had 1, 2, 3 almost rejections off the macro trend support line that formed the bottom of the wedge, and we've bounced back, and now we're kind of consolidating in this tight area. So we want to see what it's going to do now in relation to the ICE, or aka the anchored VWAP. So as long as it stays beneath this anchored VWAP, then Bitcoin's dominance is pretty much in check, and I don't think it's going to gain any more dominance. However, if we're able to jump the creek, as it were, and say we come up and we somehow prevail through the anchored VWAP, and we come up here and make another attempt at the macro trend support line here, then Bitcoin is going to regain its dominance, and that may not be good news for those that are anticipating the resumption of the alt season that was cut short by the Federal Reserve's announcement, less than stellar announcement back on the 18th of December. So, we're looking to go long in the alts, but only if Bitcoin continues to suffer rejections off the anchored VWAP. And I contend that if it continues to make attempts at crossing the ice barrier and fails, historically, we've seen that it will, if it experiences enough failures here under the VWAP, it's going to mark back down, and it's going to revisit the next liquidity void of this distribution structure, which would be the sell order block here, or rather, this would be the buy block now of demand underneath the preliminary support. This liquidity void here, we've already mitigated the automatic rally point, or the 4 wave. We've already had 1, 2, 3 mitigations here. So if it comes back down to this area after suffering enough rejection, I think that there's nothing more to hold it, and it's going to go and retest this new low here. And if it does, it may fall to $86,000, and then here, if it continues to consolidate from here laterally, it forms a selling climax, and then continues to form a trading range. Then historically, that is when we can expect the alts to begin to show dominance. And patterns like this, now we shift to Bitcoin Cash. Patterns like this bullish cup and handle, is just kind of setting the stage. It's almost like the alts are just poised and waiting and charged like a spring ready to just be released. It's just waiting to see what Bitcoin's fate is, and so surely we see here with Bitcoin Cash, this textbook cup and handle. Now, those of you who don't know anything about cup and handles are bullish. They're very, very bullish. Basically what they are, they're rounded bottoms. Instead of the Adam and Eve, the traditional double bottom forming, like we see with the Adam coming down first and then coming back up and then forming like a neckline, to back down again with the Eve, which doesn't usually fall as low and is more rounded than the Adam. These constitute what we know as double bottoms, or those distinct W shapes that you see in the price action. We see the W's for the bottoms and the M's, or the double tops, as the tops. Well, a cup and handle is a very smooth double bottom. That's all it is. It's a smooth double bottom, and we know it's a bottom because of the high volume on either side as the walls come back up. Notice where it's round concave here, that the volume, look down at the vertical bar volume, it's very low, right? You see that? You see the low supply and demand both. That means accumulation. That means that informed interests, professional interests, are accumulating little by little, precisely, meticulously, punctiliously, if you like big words, most imperceptibly. They have a accumulation campaign afoot, which constitutes the bottom of this. And then we have the low supply and demand as to not alert other market makers of the campaign. So, but in the volume, we can kind of forensically read their footprints and get a gist of what's going on. And in this case, it looks like accumulation is afoot, and then we scale out and we see the distinct pattern that's been forming by the candles, and we recognize that as a cup and handle. Now, cup and handles, like I said, are bullish, and the way you can measure a target. Now, again, this is a market cap chart, so it's not the actual price of Bitcoin Cash. We just want to have a general idea of when this thing goes and altcoins have their dominance and this thing explodes as expected, how far it can go. Say if you wanted to swing it, you wanted to hodl it, you wanted to buy it, and hold it. How do you measure cup and handles? Well, without going into too much detail, you don't even really have to do the Fibonacci extensions for these if you don't want to. What you could do is just you could draw a line from the top of the handle across like this, and the depth of the cup to this neckline area is basically what you can expect it to mark up from after we have a successful retest of the handle. And we're looking at 124, it's about 124%. So this thing could actually mark up 124% during alt season. So it's just an idea. And if you don't know anything about Bitcoin Cash, even if you didn't want to swing it, you just wanted to hodl it, that might be a good idea too, because Grayscale hodls Bitcoin Cash. It's one of those, these boys do their homework. Like I tell my group, these are professional analysts who look into all these cryptos, and they determine which ones to include into their trust portfolios. And so Bitcoin Cash Trust is one of them. So it's not some kind of scam coin or some kind of small cap coin that there's no trust in. So my thing is, if Grayscale is hodling it, if Grayscale is selling shares of it, offering shares as an ETF, then it's worth hodling. It's worth putting a few of those also onto a ledger, and that way you don't have the middleman fees. You could self self-custodize your own crypto, which is what we do as crypto investors. So, and incidentally, my hodl list, all of these it's basically a mirror reflection of everything in the Grayscale Trust portfolio, to some exceptions. I have a few of these that they don't have, but for the most part, the metaverse coins, the gaming tokens, the finance coins, the privacy coins, things like that, Zcash and such. I think it's a good idea to have. One of the most important things to be diversified, and the Grayscale Bitcoin trust, ETFs are certainly diversified, and there's so many there to look into. It's actually a good thing. People ask me, what kind of coin should I be looking at? And I say, just kind of mirror what smart money is looking at. So you can't go wrong that way. Just make sure you're diversified and you don't put all your eggs in the same basket. So, and you should be all right. So Bitcoin Cash, it's just a hard fork of Bitcoin. It's, because of block size. I guess they needed more block size, because let's face it, Bitcoin is a dinosaur. Bitcoin is old, and Bitcoin is slow, and Bitcoin is super expensive. I don't know if anyone's like using actual Bitcoin. Like if you want to buy something off of Amazon or just go to the mall or something and buy a pair of sneakers or a tracksuit or whatever, you're going to use Bitcoin? Probably not, right? It's extremely expensive. So people are more apt to use things like Bitcoin Cash or Zcash or Cardano or something like that. I don't know, but certainly not Bitcoin, which is more of a store of value, kind of like digital gold, whereas Bitcoin Cash could be actually used from peer-to-peer spending, buying stuff with, or it could also be used to hodl. There's a lot of people that think that once Wall Street and those guys, the professional institutional guys own most all of Bitcoin, then people are going to revert back to stuff like Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin SV, Bitcoin Gold, which are other forks, I guess, off of Bitcoin. But certainly Bitcoin Cash, which is actually, I think, used now. You could pay your taxes in Colorado with Bitcoin Cash. They accept it, and there are certain islands in the Caribbean, I think like Antigua or something like that. There's a bunch of businesses down there, Barbuda, that accept Bitcoin Cash. There seems to be a fondness down there. So it's definitely something that has a future, I think, and it's worth looking into. But even if you just wanted to hold it and swing it, momentum trade it this alt season, I mean, going off of this, this chart of this cup and handle, it's looking to go at least 100%. So that's something to look at. So anyway, that's about it for this video. If you get anything out of these, like, subscribe. I try to, no nonsense, just tell it as it is. I don't shill. I'm not into any of that stuff. So these are things that I look at and I share with my group. And once in a while, I'll throw you guys a freebie on YouTube. I have a whole channel in my private Discord where I put up all my coins that I'm looking at, that I'm personally invested in, and all my preliminaries, my entry and exit points, especially during alt season. We do very, very well. This last window that we did here, that we had this week long alt season. Remember when altcoins were flying a few weeks ago before Christmas, before we had the dump? My group, we swang 14 for 14. That was 30% on just about every single one of them. I think on one I was 28. That was my lowest percent. So it was 14 for 14. I put all my charts up. And so you get to kind of piggyback what I do. It's not a signal group, but if you're looking to take your chart reading skills at least up to the next level and learn how to read volume, spread analysis, learn to count Elliott waves, learn to use the Fibonacci ratios and all that stuff, by all means. And of course, Wyckoff. I also teach Wyckoff. I'm a Wyckoffian Elliottian combined. Then check it out. I try to keep it extremely affordable, and I also share my my swing trades. So thanks a lot, and I appreciate your subscription and your likes. We'll talk again soon. This isn't financial advice, but this is. Please be safe in the markets. All right, guys. Take care, and we'll talk again soon. All right, man. Adios. Bye-bye.